Hi, Mark here from newhometricks.com, and today I'd like to run through the upgrade process and give you a bit of a tour of the new V3 Plus Tado app. Now, you may remember from some of my previous videos that Tado have launched a new version of the app that goes alongside the new version of the hardware, the V3 Plus smart thermostat that they've released. It's not two different apps in the app stores, it's just one app, but the version that you see will depend on which hardware you have. If you've got the older hardware, you can upgrade to the new app for a fee and see the new version. So today I'm going to run through the upgrade process and give you an app tour so that you can see for yourself how the new app works, what it looks like, and then decide for yourself if you'd like to run through the upgrade if you haven't already. So let's get straight into the actual upgrade process and we can see how that works. What we're interested in today is this new ribbon that's appeared here that says upgrade to the V3 Plus app. Now if we tap on that, it comes up with a summary and outlines, as mentioned previously, that you've now got the new V3 Plus thermostats and the V3 Plus app is available. And you've got two options here. You can keep the V3 app and continue to use this, and new updates will come through from the store, but you won't move into the V3 Plus app. You won't get that just through App Store upgrades. But you can also upgrade into the V3 Plus app through this screen here, and you have the chance, as it says here, to upgrade to the V3 Plus app for a one-time fee of €19.99, £19.99, giving you access to all the new features and benefit from a lifetime of complimentary access to the auto assist skill. So as previously mentioned, this is kind of a policy change. They were mentioning in the past that if you upgraded you'd have to start paying a subscription, but now that's not the case. Existing customers that upgrade to the V3 Plus app will be able to continue using those features that they've already been enjoying without having to pay a subscription. So when I tap continue, I expect that this is now going to initiate the upgrade process. I might have to skip over a few steps because it might pop up with payment or password information, that kind of thing. So any steps like that I'm going to skip over or block out, but let's tap continue and see what happens. Okay, so it's coming up here and giving us a little bit of a summary as to how the new app will look. So at the top here you can swipe through and it gives you some information about additional services, and as it's mentioning up at the top here, the app will give you a at-a-glance view. You'll also have the air comfort skill, which is something that you don't currently have in the older version of the app, and it's also mentioning that you get auto assist for free as part of the new upgrade, which again, as previously mentioned, that's a policy change from Tado. They were previously saying that you'd have to start paying for this service, but existing customers won't have to pay. So if we tap on upgrade, it gives you terms and conditions, and as mentioned here, it says the upgrade to the new Tado app cannot be undone. You won't be able to switch back to the old app. But it also says benefits for all members of your home. As soon as you upgrade to the new app, all members of your home will enjoy the benefits. So only one person needs to do the upgrade. You only pay once, and once you've done that, everybody who launches Tado in your household will see the new app and they won't need to pay themselves. So it's just one person that needs to do the upgrade in your house. So we'll tap on I understand. Okay, so as expected, it has popped up and asked for a Google Pay, and it did show a few details of my credit card, that kind of thing, so I've skipped over that step. And it's now automatically completed the purchase, and we're now in the new app. Okay, so that's the upgrade process. Once I'd run through that, I spent a little bit of time getting to know the Tado app, and I've been sort of living with it for a little while now. So I'm going to give you a bit of a tour now of the new app. How it works, some of the new features, and a few features that are missing as well. So let's take a look at that and see how the new app works. Okay, so this is the Tado V3 Plus app. I'm at the main home screen here. As far as I can tell, it looks and feels exactly the same on iOS as it does on Android. To help us compare with the old version of the app, I've got the Windows version running here as well. This does not appear to receive the upgrade, so there's no V3 Plus version of the Windows app as far as I can see at the moment, but that'll help us compare with the old version. I've also got the web version of the app here as well, which does appear to receive the upgrade. Once you upgrade in the app, then you'll see the new version in the web app as well at my.tado.com. So we'll be able to have a look at that as well. Now here in the app you can see that the main screen is now this sort of at-a-glance view showing you all the zones in your home. So this gives you a nice sort of overview of all of the different zones, their current temperature, the set temperature, and you can see that at a glance in one place, which I do quite like. To access more information on a zone, you simply tap on it and that will expand that zone and show you the current information. Now, one of the main differences that you'll see straight away is that the prominence of the set temperature and the current temperature have been swapped around. In the old version of the app, the current temperature was shown in quite large here at the top, with the set temperature in this little bar here. Now, in the new version of the app, the set temperature has the most prominent view here, with the current temperature shown down here in the bottom left, humidity bottom right. So this is kind of a bit of a change with the old version, alongside the removal of the geolocation radar that shows whether people are at home or away. That's now been removed from the zone view and it's been moved into a tile in its own right, which we'll have a look at in a little bit. Now, there are a few other differences when you're looking at the zone here. The way that you set a manual override has changed slightly. In order to do this, you simply tap on the set temperature, and then you get this bar here, which will probably be fairly familiar for anyone that's used to the sort of smart home control system available in iOS. You can simply tap and move this bar up and down. So if we set a temperature here of say 21.5 degrees and then just tap on the temperature to set that, you'll see that that will now automatically set that for 1 hour. That's the default, that whenever you make that kind of a change, it automatically defaults to 1 hour, and you can see that's been reflected in the Windows Phone app straight away. You can of course set a different time by simply dragging this little dot here from left to right, anywhere from 5 minutes up to the maximum is 12 hours, and if you then go all the way, it goes to infinity, which is until you cancel. It'll remain on this temperature until you cancel. Now, one thing that I haven't been able to figure out here, which is something that you were able to do in the old app, is how you change this to run until the next scheduled change. So if we just use the old version of the app to see that, if I tap on the set temperature here, you've got 3 options in the box: until ended by user, which is the same as this infinity option in the new version of the app, until you cancel; the timer, which as you saw was the default that came up, but there's an option that's not available here, which is until next automatic change. That's not available in the new app. You can't do that. If you set that somewhere else, it will be reflected here, but you can't set it within the app. So if I just apply this and say you can now see that this new setting is active until 10 p.m. while someone is at home, and you can see straight away there that that's been reflected in the app until 10 o'clock whilst in home mode. But there's no way for me to actually set that within the app itself. All I've got is time or until cancel. So I don't have these options available quite the same way that they were available in the old app. Now that's a little bit weird, because if we go to the web app and just go into one of these zones, we do have the option, if I just click on that to set the temperature, we do have the option to say until next automatic change. That's available in the new upgraded version of the web app, but not in the new upgraded version of the store app on iOS and Android. Now, I did ask Tado about this as to whether that feature will be added back at some point in future, and they said yes, so they're obviously aware that that's something that's missing here. But for some reason that's available in the new web app. It was available in the old version of the app, but it's not available here. So obviously a bit of an unusual thing not to have there, that you've got that in the old app, you've got it in the web app, but just not here in the store app. Another thing that you can't do whilst we're in the zone view here is you can't swipe left and right between zones. Oh, I've pulled the manual temperature there. So if you swipe left and right in the old app, you were able to move between zones very quickly. You can no longer do that here in the new app. In order to switch between zones, you have to tap the cross to come out of the zone and then go into another one, and that will then allow you to control that zone. You can't swipe left and right anymore. Most of the other features are the same. So if we go into Smart Schedule, the scheduling feature is exactly the same as on the previous version of the app. There's no changes to the way that you set the schedule or the away controls or set early starts. Those features work exactly the same as before. The graph looks and works exactly the same as it did before, so you can see that here as well, and everything is exactly the same as it used to be in the previous version. Now, if I come out of this, I did mention that the geolocation information had moved to a different place. So this has now got its own tile where it says Home Geofencing. That's the geolocation tile. So if we just tap on that, that comes up with the information to say that we're in home mode currently, and then it shows us the geolocation radar down in the bottom here. So that shows us that information in its own separate tile now. We come out of this. Now, one new feature that has been added to the app is the air comfort feature. So if we just load this up, now the first thing that you'll see here is the air freshness information. It gives you information about the current air quality outside, so you've got the current temperature and an air quality index saying that the outdoor air quality is 73, which apparently is good. Not sure where it's getting this data from and what it covers, but nevertheless it's picking that up from somewhere. And then below it says indoor air fair. It says no open window has been detected in the last 24 hours. Now, it's a little bit arbitrary here because obviously you might have opened a window and it might not have been detected. Or, of course, you might have opened a window but only for a very short period of time, which might not have that much of an impact on the indoor air quality. But nevertheless, it's using its information about whether window openings have been detected to figure out whether or not you've let any fresh air in. So I've not been able to really get a good feel for how well that feature works yet, but it does seem a little bit arbitrary that it's simply using open window detections to decide whether or not the quality of the air in your home is good or not, rather than having any kind of sensor to evaluate that information. But nevertheless, it's trying to give a little bit of an insight here as to the indoor air quality. Now, if we scroll down, it now gives you also an overview of the comfort level in each individual zone. So for example here it says the master bedroom is pleasant, and it gives you this kind of split view here between temperature and humidity. And apparently what you're looking to do is have this little white dot into the center, as close as into the center as you possibly can get it. So that's giving you a bit of an overview here as to whether or not it's too warm, too cold, too dry, too humid. It's just a different way of evaluating temperature and humidity, really, for each individual room. And again, it's a little bit arbitrary. As far as I've been able to tell, it seems to be assuming that sort of 46-47% humidity is the right place, and that sort of around the 22 degrees Celsius mark is the right temperature. But of course, this is one of those things that can be a bit subjective. Everybody's going to have their own different personal comfort levels in terms of temperature and probably humidity as well. So some people might prefer it to be cooler or warmer than this. There's no way to make any changes if you go into the settings. There's no way to make changes if we just go into the air comfort section. There's no settings that you can change here to tell the system that you'd like what is considered a good temperature to be evaluated at a different level. If we just have a look here, for example, at one of the zones that's a bit on the cold side, according to Tado, the entrance area here, for example, it's saying that's cold. And you can see that that's showing cold. You can see there's a little exclamation part next to the temperature, and it's saying that that's cold. But this is again a fairly arbitrary evaluation. Whether or not this kind of thing is useful or not, I suppose it depends again on whether you like this kind of at-a-glance view. But I think that this would be a bit more useful if Tado had a few more customization options for you to specify what you personally believe to be a comfortable temperature or not. Coming back out here, the rest of the information that's available in the app is very much the same as the old version. You've got the energy saving section where it gives you an overview of how much energy you saved in the previous months. You've got boiler repair services where you can access Tado's repair services through the app here. You've got the hot water configuration, which again works very much the same as it did in the previous app. You can make changes to hot water temperature and hot water schedule here. Everything works very much the same way. You've got this new settings screen. You've got all of these skills here, things like geofencing. But a lot of this stuff, you'll find that there aren't many settings. Geofencing does have some settings available to it, and these are the same as were available in the previous app, whether or not you want to use geolocation or not on this particular device. But a lot of other settings don't have anything that you can configure. If we go into weather adaptation, there's nothing really here. Open window detection is actually set per zone rather than in a master location here. Things like air comfort, as you saw previously, there's no settings to change here, which is unfortunate. The auto assist feature here. Now, auto assist, I think that what you're going to see here is going to depend on how you got Tado. If you're a user that's been sort of grandfathered into having the auto assist feature as part of your service, you don't see anything here. Whereas if you've had to subscribe to that feature because you've bought into Tado with the new V3 Plus hardware, you're probably going to see subscription information here, because there is that subscription service that Tado have now brought in for new users going forward. So what you see here is probably going to vary depending on how you've bought Tado. And then you've got settings below for each individual zone, which again are the same as previous versions of the app. You get the same settings to turn on open window detection or turn it off, the same settings to specify the measuring device, offset temperature, dazzle mode, that kind of thing. So this is exactly the same as was available on previous versions of the app, so it's identical to previous versions. So that's basically a summary of the new app and the way it looks and feels. A few new features, but I think a lot of these changes, I think it's fair to say, are largely cosmetic in nature. So that's my summary overview of the new V3 Plus Tado app. Now, my personal opinion of the new app is that, well, first of all, I do like the new look and feel. I think aesthetically it's a lot nicer. The at-a-glance view is quite nice to be able to see the status of all of the zones in your home in one location. Not quite convinced about the air quality feature, that new feature giving you that sort of overview and recommendations about the humidity and temperature in your home. It seems to be a little bit arbitrary, telling you that basically 22 degrees is the best temperature, and that's a bit of a subjective thing. Different people are going to feel comfortable at different temperature levels, so it would be nice to see a few customization options there. Also, it's a little bit disappointing that there are a few features missing in the new version of the app that were present in the old one, and I think Tado are not doing themselves any favours here by not advertising the fact that there are a few features missing. They make that statement at the beginning that the process is irreversible, but they don't really tell you that there are features that they haven't yet added to the new app. I did reach out to Tado and ask them if those missing features are going to be added back in future, and they've said that they are, but no idea on time frame at this point. I have heard from one or two people that they have been able to reverse the upgrade by simply taking advantage of refund policies available in the app stores. So I'm not sure if Tado thought that their policies could somehow take precedence over the policies of the app stores that they publish the app through, but obviously that's not going to be the case. So it may well be the case that you are able to reverse the upgrade, but obviously that's going to be down to taking advantage of a refund process, or maybe even doing a chargeback on your card. So I haven't tried this myself. I'm not going to sort of make any recommendations about what to do there in order to reverse the upgrade if you decide to try it but want to go back. Tado say it's irreversible, but there may be refund protections available to you that you can take advantage of. That said, I'm still happy with the Tado system. Obviously, the actual app itself is probably not something that you're going to be spending a huge amount of time in. Once you've got things set up how you like it, you can then leave it to get on and do its job most of the time. Any smart heating system that requires you to spend lots of time interacting with the app is probably not one that you're going to want to bother with. You want to be able to just leave it to do its thing in the background, and the only time that you're really going to be interfacing with the app after you've got things set the way you want is if you need to make any adjustments, if you're not quite comfortable with the temperature, or if you need to turn on a manual override, that kind of thing. So I'm still relatively happy with the way that the Tado system works. We'll see what happens over time with features being added back, and obviously as and when that happens I'll keep you updated with further updates and videos. If you want to learn more about my thoughts on the upgrade and the new version of the app, I have written a companion blog post. You'll find the link to that in the description below, or check out the website newhometricks.com. If you've liked this video, please share it. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.